Okay, welcome to Unjaded. We are going to be talking today about marketing as a way of life, making marketing a way of life. And I have some guests here on the show. This is actually a group call. So every month I host a group call on the Unjaded podcast where we get to talk about a topic that is coming up over and over again. And honestly, as a manifesting generator, it's something that I have responded to in my business. So on the call today, I have 5 manifesting generators and 1 reflector. So it's a super fun time. I always love when we can have a reflector here because they are so rare. So you're going to hear from all of my guests later on in the episode. But first, let's talk about marketing. And this is sparked because I have 2 conversations over and over and over again in my business. One of them is, but Vicki, I hate social media. I don't want to be on social media. And the other one is, but Vicki, I hate marketing. I don't want to sell anything. I don't want to be out there. I don't want to put my face out there. I don't want to blah, 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 blah. So I'm in the camp that marketing is a necessary evil. I actually love marketing. But it is a necessary evil. And I know you're going to run into human design coaches who will tell you otherwise. There are many human design coaches and other coaches who will tell you that you can just be you and sit on your lotus flower in the middle of the lake and have the world come to you. And that might be true for some people. I know that following our human design is key, and we're going to be talking about that in this episode. But while I firmly believe that following our design is key to everything in life, I also believe that thinking that we can reach our business goals without ever marketing our businesses or without ever marketing ourselves is like thinking that we can drive across the country without ever getting in a car, or thinking that we can bake a cake without ever putting any ingredients in the bowl. Like, somebody has to know that you're out here, right? Somebody has to know what you have. Business is business, and there are just some business truths that can't be overlooked. One of those truths is that people are not going to flock to you if you don't market yourself. That's just the way it is. So, maybe this has happened to you before too, if you're listening in, that you haven't made marketing a part of your everyday life. So then when you try to sell an offer, you get crickets. And I think that that's probably happened to all of us a time or two, where we put something out there for sale and we're like, oh gosh, this is the perfect offer. This is the perfect thing. It solves all the problems. Why is nobody buying this thing? I know it's happened to me. And every time that it's happened to me, I've gone back and I've been like, okay, wait, you didn't market this like you should. Or in my case, as a manifesting generator, a lot of times it's been that I haven't really been standing in my strategy. I haven't really been using my strategy of being in response. So I'll just give you, for generators on the call live and listening in, our strategy is to respond. And we're going to be talking about this in this episode. But, you can work with coaches who have you, or teams who will have you have absolutely everything ready for your launch. Every email is scheduled, every social media post is scheduled, and you think it's going to be fantastic because you're just going to sail through this launch for 3 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever your launch is, and you're not going to have to do anything. And inside of you, your manifesting generator or generator self, your soul is dying because you have nothing to respond to. So you have to use your strategy in your marketing, and we're going to be unpacking that. But this has happened to me when I've gotten crickets in my business. It's because everything was like too prepared. So we have to follow our design that way as well. So today we're going to cover 3 tips. So really easy to follow along and grab these 3 tips to make marketing a way of life in your business so that you may actually even enjoy it and draw clients to you on a regular basis.
Welcome to Unjaded. I'm your host, Vicki Dixon. This is a podcast with a human design spin on building the life, the relationships, and the business that you were made for. Let's dive in.
So tip number 1, use your human design strategy to dictate how you create the content that you're using in your marketing to draw people in. If you are a generator type, like I talked about in the launch thing that I just talked about, respond to the things around you and share them with your audience. This is when you're most magnetic. And I know that everyone on this call and everyone listening in who's a manifesting generator says, yeah, I respond to everything in my life. But I guarantee you that sometimes the thing that we are most meant to say, we go to respond and we go to say it and we go, I can't say that. That's the thing I can't say. I worked with somebody today on a call, and it was just that thing. We got about 3/4 of the way through the reading, and she said the thing that she actually wants to say, but she's terrified to say it. And it's always the thing that needs to be said in your business. It's so powerful for generator types because we have that response mechanism in us. And then we start to think about, what are people going to think? Or how are people going to judge us? Or what if my mother sees that? What if my sister sees that? Or what if, my ex-husband sees that? God forbid, all of these what ifs climb in, and we just kill that response. But that's when you're most magnetic. So follow your strategy. So that's what you're going to do as a generator or manifesting generator. If you're a projector, assume that the people who are following you have invited you in. If they have clicked on the follow, the like button, if they have joined your email list, then they have invited you. They have invited your guidance. So share your guidance as it's needed. Don't shy away from sharing your guidance. Energetic invitations are a real thing, but people can't energetically invite you in as a projector if you never put anything out there for them to respond to or for them to engage with. Like it has to start somewhere. So understand that you have already been invited and allow yourself to be that lighthouse, that guiding light that draws people to you. If you're a manifester, like really, you can do whatever the H you want. You inform people. You inform people what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're intuiting, whatever connections you have going on in your design. Of course, we know that your design is more nuanced than just your type. But if you're a manifestor, you really can tell it like it is for people. Absolutely, you can tell it like it is. This was another conversation that I had today with a manifestor, and we were in a call together, and she was talking about her messaging. And, we all have conditioning around our power, right? We all have places where we don't stand in our power, especially when it comes to our messaging. And we get almost all through the call, and she starts to say what she really wants to say. She says, Vicki, if I could say anything I wanted, I would. And she, blah, 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 and I can't wait. I can't wait to share it when she says it on social media, because her entire being lit up with what she's here to say. So, and she can do that as a manifestor. She doesn't have to wait for anything else. She doesn't have to wait to respond or anything. She can just, there it is. So I'm excited to share that when she does finally share it. If you're a reflector, and we have a beautiful reflector here, which I will welcome her reflections on this as we get to the end of the episode. But reflectors are here to really mirror back to your community what you're seeing. So you don't have to be shy about letting people know what is there for you, letting people know what you see and how you could help them. Not help them by actually doing the work, but help them by actually reflecting back to them what's there for you. Step number 2, show up as your human design profile. I think this is the biggest thing that gets missed, even with people in the human design space. We don't talk enough. We don't focus enough. We don't live enough from our profile. So there are 6 profile lines, which combined make 12 profiles. I'm not going to go through all 12 because we'd still be here tomorrow if I did that, but I'll just highlight the 6 and you can put yours together and see what it means for you. So if you're a line 1, let's first, your profile is the role that you play in the movie of your life. It's who you are here to be, and it's how people will receive you best. It's the energy of how people will receive you best when you show up as that profile. Again, remember that all of the places in your design that are who you're here to be are, while they may feel natural for you, they also will be conditioned. You will have been conditioned away from yourself in a lot of places. So if you are a 1 line, profile line 1, you research things for people. You go down the rabbit hole, you find all of the information, and you do this so that you can bring that information to your tribe. You do that not just so that you can collect all this information for yourself, it's actually so that you can share it with people. So start sharing what you've learned with people. If you're a 2nd line, you're a natural. And this can be really kind of hard to get the hang of as a 2nd line, because you don't want to be just showing up and saying, hey, this is supernatural for me, so just follow along. That's not what it is. It's really about what's alive for you right now. What are you drawn most towards right now? What's coming really easily and naturally to you? And what are people recognizing you for? What are people telling you that you're good at? And I can tell you that as a 2nd line, it took me 51 years probably to get to the point where I was actually accepting what people said I was good at, because we pass off compliments, right? We downplay compliments. And as a 2nd line, you really can't be doing that. You really are called to accept what people are telling you you're good at because you can't see it as a gift. And that is the thing that you're here to share with the world. So start to pay attention to what people are recognizing you for, and then what's alive for you as well. Third lines. Third lines are my very favorite people in the world, 3/5s to be specific. But third lines, you have to show us what you don't want to show us. So third lines the third lines that I have worked with have a lot of shame around mistakes, and I'm putting that in air quotes, things that they're getting wrong in life. Third lines are here to get things wrong. They're here to make all of the mistakes. They're here to learn through experience. And you're doing that. I think it can be really fun, but you have a lot of conditioning around getting it wrong. My husband is a third line profile, and I see so much in him how he was always told that that was wrong with him. But you're the ultimate experiential learner, and you can show us things through your experience that we can't learn any other way. So you make those mistakes, you have those experiences so that you can teach others through your experience. So let go of the shame. And this was another person that I worked with this week was a 3/5 profile, and she had so much shame around all of the things. 3/5 manifesting generator, like holy. You got to be comfortable having egg on your face as a 3/5 manifesting generator, because you're going to get it wrong as often as you get it right. And that's your charm, really, is when you can stand in that. That's where your power is. Fourth lines, it's all about foundations and communities. So if you are a fourth line person, you absolutely have to have a community around you. Not every community. You don't have to be in absolutely every community that there is, but you get to build community around you. You're here for connection. And you will move from foundation to foundation to foundation throughout your life. Fifth lines are visionary leaders, and you call us on our shit. You are not here to be comfortable. So if you're a fifth line profile, I'm kind of sorry, but not sorry for your luck, because there's going to be a lot of times in your life as a fifth line profile where it's not going to be comfortable for you to say what needs to be said. Sometimes because you know the other person or the person on the other end of that conversation is not going to be super comfortable, and that is your gift. You have a projection field around you where you will project onto people and they will project onto you. You get to mirror back what's coming up for you, and that's not always going to be a comfortable place. So get really comfortable being uncomfortable if you're a fifth line profile. Six lines. Six lines are role models in the end, but you go through 3 life phases. So if you're a sixth line listening in and you're under 30, you are in a third line phase. So you are an experiential learner. You feel like you're making mistakes. You're running fast and breaking things. All of these experiences are happening to you and you feel like you're getting it wrong. If you're in that second phase of your life between 30 and 50, that is when it seems to be the most uncomfortable for the 6 lines that I worked with, because you are integrating your life's lessons. And that is not a comfortable thing to do. And you feel like you're looking out at everyone and you're like, what are they doing? What are they doing out there? Because you can see clearly some of the things that we should be doing differently, but you're not yet in the role model phase where you can actually guide people. Well, you could guide people if they would listen to you, but nobody's listening to you. You're integrating your lessons and trying to make all the pieces fit and make something of it, and it can be uncomfortable. And then the third phase of your life after you're 50, you actually show up as the role model. So this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful profile line. And you get to be comfortable with just kind of being as a role model and showing people the way. And there's lots of places that can live in your design, but the 6th line is one of those places. Okay, number 3, for making marketing something that you love as a way of life, focus on your ideal client in everything that you do. Now, of course, you're sitting there thinking, or you're walking or you're driving and you're thinking, well, of course, no duh, I focus on my ideal client in everything I do. I know who my ideal client is and I always focus on her. But do you? Or when you go to post something for your ideal client, do you instead have your ex in the back of your mind, or your friend from your other job who might see what you post, or your sister who's going to think you're insane? Is that who is actually in your mind instead of your ideal client? We want to make it about serving our ideal client at all times. Like, how much value can you pour into the heart of your ideal client without thinking about the other people who are following you who may judge you? And there's this saying that I heard years and years and years ago, but it's always stuck with me, that those that are further along on the path than you are, or those that are doing well in business, are not the people who are ever going to judge you. It's always the people who are like bottom feeding, like nitpicking at people and all of that. Like they're not the people who are moving ahead in their businesses. If they're worried about what you're doing and criticizing you, then they're not really moving that far forward in their business, because the people that are moving forward with their business are going to cheer you on every step of the way in everything that you do. And you want to make sure that you're really surrounding yourself with people like that. And then no more of this talk about how much you hate social media, how much you feel like you're talking into a black hole, how much you feel like nobody's engaging with you, like it's pointless, all of those things. One of my very, very, very favorite mentors of all time is the late Wayne Dyer. And he always said, we can't get fit thinking thoughts of I'm unfit. We can't get well thinking thoughts of I'm sick. All of these things, our thoughts really, really matter. And I know that we know that. And I know that's basic information. And I know that we still catch ourselves saying those things about our businesses that we don't really want to be a reality. So if you say to yourself before you post on social media, I don't know why I'm bothering to do this, because I feel like I'm just talking into a black hole. Nobody ever responds. Well, of course nobody can respond, because you just told the universe that nobody could respond. Instead, when you post, you say, Mark Zuckerberg works for me. Mark Zuckerberg works for me. Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for putting my stuff out there first. And you just trust that it's going to go out there. And I know that that seems ridiculous, but it actually is the way the whole universe works. So it can't possibly be ridiculous, right? So commit to showing up and serving up what your perfect client needs most, and it will change how you think about marketing. If you start to think about her or him instead of you, if you put the focus on that person instead of on what might happen to you when you make yourself vulnerable and put yourself out there, then your marketing will change. And think about it as if it were a job. If you had an actual job, you would not expect to not have to go to work to get paid. Yet we somehow expect that magically we can create offers and only show up when we want to sell our offers, or that somebody will just find them on our website. I don't know how they're supposed to find us on our website if we don't have anything leading to our website, no breadcrumbs, but we think that, right? So all marketing is showing up over and over and over again. Just be there. Just be there for people. Okay. Bonus tip. This is my favorite thing, and I can't even remember who told me this, but I love it. Don't consume more than you create on any platform. That will change your life. So what that means is that you don't scroll on Instagram for an hour to numb yourself out and not contribute anything to the Instagram pile. You don't scroll or numb out on Facebook and not put anything into the engine. So you want to make sure that you are creating more than you are consuming, because I think I have found my experiences that in the consuming is when I can fall into the comparisonitis and the imposter syndrome and all of those things. Maybe there's another bonus tip in there as well. Only follow people who truly inspire you to be a better you. There's so many times that I work with clients, and one of the very first things we do is unfollow, because they're following people in their own industry that make them feel small and that make them feel like they'll never get it right. So, I mean, you can transfer what you do to any other industry. You can watch a reel. If you're a human design coach, you can watch a reel from some other digital marketer that has nothing to do with human design and translate it into your space, instead of following one of these human design people that you think is God, and they may not be making any money. They may have 200,000 followers and they are not making money, because that happens all the time. So, end of sermon. I get carried away. I'm like, I could just keep going, but that's why I have notes, so I could just keep myself on track. Okay, so let's open it up for discussion. We have 5 other beautiful business women in the room with us today. So let's chat about anything that came up. Are there questions around that, conversation around that? Just unmute yourself and we'll get started. Not everybody at once.
Hey.
Hey.
So I find my biggest thing is I have a great idea and I'm all in, and then I have to think about it for a while, and then it's like I won't do it, and then it just seems like it was the worst idea. Like, what was I thinking? Honestly, that is the number of times I do that, I can't tell you.
for content that you're coming up with?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so just because I've had the pleasure of working with you a little bit, and I think I remember that you're quadruple split, right? In your design, I
Uh,
believe you're quadruple split or triple split.
oh, I have my thing here right that because I don't. I'm quadruple. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. So it may be really beneficial for you to get out with people. Like you have that idea. Can you get to a cafe and work on it? Can you get to a
Right.
library and work on it? Can you go somewhere where there's people so that you can get that energy kind of working together towards the thing instead of you sit in your own space and you've got all of these different energies working in your design that are working not necessarily in a cohesive manner. So how can we
Yes.
kind of bridge those? We call it bridging the splits, but how can we kind of bridge those things together? And that would be one of the things that you could do. So, and then the other thing is when you say you get an idea, like, is that in response to something that's happening, or is that you just like sitting by yourself and coming up with something in your head?
I think I respond a lot to things, and probably I don't even notice, but
Yeah.
I'm just, yeah.
Yeah. So then
Yeah.
keep some sort of a something with you, like a small notebook, a Trello board, an app on your phone. It doesn't matter what it is, but keep track of those things. So how I create my content is that I'm always creating content. So I have this app in my phone and I just keep track, or I even text myself sometimes if I'm too lazy to open the app. I just text myself really quickly because I don't want to lose it. And then when it's time to create content or when I'm feeling all of that energy for you, if you're in a cafe and all of your energy is working together and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, I can get some work done. Go back to that list of posts that you have created, those ideas that you have had, and then respond to them again. It gives you something to respond to again.
Okay.
The thing that made me pause there, if you saw that, if you're here live, was you have gate 11 too, right? I'm sure you have gate 11. I think that was our first conversation that we had way back when.
I have to hear going back. Gate 11. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the gate of
Yes.
ideas too. So
Yes.
with that energy, you have to understand that some of the ideas are for you and some of them aren't, and that's okay. So keep that idea journal where you are tracking your ideas and you're the steward of ideas. So it's okay if you don't use all of the ideas. Some of them aren't for you. Some of them are
Right.
actually for others. So I love to have my Gate 11 people keep a journal and all of your ideas, just a list of all of your ideas, and then make a ritual around going through it once a week, once a month, whatever works for you. And you'll know what ideas are for you and what ideas are like, no, but at least you're putting intention behind it.
Yes. Okay. I like that. Thank
Makes
you.
sense? You're welcome.
Yes.
Lorianne.
Idea hopping, Vicky. Like, how consistent should you be with a theme? Like, if you are, I mean, I'm a manifesting generator, so I love to hop from idea to idea. So, like, how many posts should be on a particular topic?
That is a great question. And as a fellow manifesting generator, I can tell you that for my entire business life, I have tried to stay on one topic for a certain amount of time, and it has never worked for me. And I still have a magical business. I don't know, maybe it would be better if I stuck to something for a little bit longer. I always have these grand ideas that, okay, the podcast is going to drive the bus, and I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and this, and then and a whole week is going to be on that content. But I'm also idea hop. I also can't stick to that or choose not to stick to that thing. I do think it's important that with every piece of content we create, to create as many other assets as we can around it. So, for instance, my podcast gets a blog post. I know you do the same. A blog post, it gets Instagram stories, it gets an Instagram post, it gets Pinterest templates, all of the things, right? So we want to do as much of that as we can around every piece of content.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as a manifesting generator, for me as a second line, like I just have to go where the energy is taking me. And it's not always in the same topic every week, although I love it when people can do that.
Okay, so grace. Grace is the answer.
Grace is the
Thank you.
answer. Yes, you're welcome. Andrea.
Hi, so I resonated a lot with being a 1-3. And so having all the ideas and having so many ideas that I give myself information overload and then not use it in my marketing or think that I have too much to use in my marketing. And then the other thing that I resonated was the shame. And I've been getting deeper into human design now, and so shame comes up in the genetic trauma part of the chart as well, and so that is for me, shame is part of that, and and putting stuff out there. And you mentioned about putting things out there. Yeah, so the having too many information and the shame and and showing people like the errors of what's happening. That's where the shame comes from, I believe. So that was it. Yeah. So I'm not showing people my things that I'm getting wrong because of the shame.
Yes. And as a Manny Gen, you are Manny Gen. Sorry. Yeah. So as a Manny Gen, there already is that shame on us as Manny Gens, like so much shame around the mistakes that oh my God, are you doing something else? Like, can you never stick to one thing? And on and on and on it goes. Like, really? Or multitasking, or, you guys know, I see so many heads nodding. It's like, yeah, I feel that. And then as a third line, you have like a double whammy. But if you think about it in your healing journey, the things that you've been shamed for, the things that you feel the most shame around are often your greatest gifts. And human design is no different. And that's what's going to help transform it for the people that you're here to serve.
No, thank you, 100%. And that's the more I get deeper into human design now, the more that I'm realizing the positive effects of how it supports me in my healing without even knowing that that's what I had, the deconditioning work that I had done on my process. And I feel like I can do the talking in my marketing, but I think I also may need to get support of like a copywriter or someone to get me kickstarted, just to rein me in.
Yeah, I may know somebody who can help with that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Mandy.
Hi.
So where do I begin? There's a lot that resonated with me. So I'm a 4/6 line. So definitely that being in that phase right now of that integration phase, I really resonate. And then a lot of times I find that I know how to help people, and then it kind of falls upon deaf ears because I'm not quite in that like role model 6 line yet. But that one really resonated with me, as well as like the ideas. I have a gate 11 in Neptune for me. And so I get like tons of ideas all the time. So I usually will keep me like, I love Notion. Notion is like my jam. And so I use Notion, and then I'll also plug in like a Google Sheet to like jot down all my ideas. And then whenever I circle back, it's also that like, well, was this idea mine or not mine? That really resonated, because then I can make notes of, oh, this would be really good for this client or this client or this connection or this connection. Because as the 4 line, I am trying to find more of my community. So I've been kind of dabbling in different communities so that I can find my people.
Yeah. And do you find that as a reflector that changes as you go through life? Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. And one thing, and I don't know if this happens to like other reflectors, but I definitely have to have like my escape place, because I start sweating. Like when I'm around a lot of people, it's like that's my body reaction to all of the energy is like I will start sweating. And so I have to like remove myself for a moment in order to like reground myself and recenter. But I find that different communities, and I just go off of how I feel as well. Like I really just kind of sit back in the beginning and really just kind of absorb and pay attention to everyone. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. It's so neat to have a reflector. So just for you listening in, reflectors make up just 1% of the population, and they have a sampling aura. So other reflectors that I've spoken with, they say that like what Mandy said about absorbing other people, like they can kind of move through a room and try on other people's auras. They can kind of feel what we're feeling in a room. Lorianne's got a look in her face like, holy cow. I can't imagine having that life experience, to be honest with you. But reflectors are uniquely able to mirror back what's possible for their community and maybe what needs changing, but not for everyone, not for the world, but for their specific people. So as a 4th line, 4/6, yeah, like it's all about finding the right place where you fit for sure. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Andrea.
Just another one, but it wasn't to do with marketing. It's just to, again, what resonated with me when you spoke about the line 6. So my son is a 4/6 generator. And again, now I'm getting deeper into human design. I'm realizing the different stages. I didn't know about that. And he's under 30. And so that I just wanted to put that out there for anyone listening, and really reinforcing, especially with, I'm coming at it from a parent's point of view, but knowing if you're looking at it as an entrepreneur and knowing your clients as well, depending on what age you're working with and what who your target audience is as well. So if we look at it from that point of view, is knowing, okay, if to respond or to talk to people that may have a line 6, and I just thought that was just something relevant that may help somebody.
Yeah, for sure. Profile is so important. So very important. It's like, I feel like it's one of those things that's really everything. I think it can be just as important as type, easily as important as type, but we sometimes gloss over it. And so if you're just new to human design and you're listening in and you're, starting to explore your type and starting to think about how are you going to show up as your type in marketing, because there's a lot of information about that online. The next piece that I would invite you to dive into is your profile. How am I here to show up? What role am I here to play in life? And then how can I be that for my people in anything that I'm creating in content? Okay, so we are going to go through a little bit of a roundtable here. Everyone who is live on this call is going to take a minute and just introduce themselves and their business and tell you where to find them. This is a super fun part of these community calls, and I do them every month. So if you would like to be on a community call, watch your inbox. There will be a link in the show notes for you to grab a spot on the next one. And spaces are limited just because everybody gets to shout out their business. So I am going to start with Lori Ann.
Thank you, Vicki. My name is Lori Ann Mirabito. I am a speaking and visibility coach, and I help coaches, consultants, and service providers write and deliver amazing presentations that they can use as their best form of marketing. I believe that speaking is the fastest way to grow your business. The best place to find me is on my website. So then you can go to all the socials that you adore, which is speakandstandout.com. And I also have a podcast called Be in Demand.
And your podcast is amazing. Amazing. I was listening to it this week. Thank you for being here. And all of these places where you can find the guests who are here today will be linked in the show notes for you as well. So don't feel like if you're walking or driving, you have to remember it, because we will link them in the show notes for you. Okay, Debbie, where can we find you?
So I am an emotional health and well-being coach. And I I found this by using these tools. I healed myself of rheumatoid arthritis and found my voice and found my passion and purpose. So I'm pretty excited about these tools. And so I work with people sort of offering a different, very unique and personalized approach, whether people come to me for just to start a gentle self-discovery, or they want to dive right in to clear old programming and create space, or they just want to do maintenance of just reconnecting to their own body wisdom and their own greatness. And again, all of that just to really remember, and to live authentically. And you can reach me at Debbie Clark with an E.ca.
Thank you. And I have had the pleasure of having Debbie speak in some of my groups, and she is an excellent person to have in to do a workshop or something. If you have anyone in your community who is interested in self-healing, then Debbie absolutely is one of the people that you want to have on your kind of list of contacts.
Thank you, Vicki.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Mandy.
Yep, I am a 4-6 reflector, and I actually do branding and marketing for change makers, for leaders, thought leaders, female entrepreneurs that are really out there to make a difference, and community builders as well. And you can find me on my website, and that's mandypaisse.com, and that's PAYSSE, as well as Instagram and TikTok.
Thank you. And Mandy, you may have picked up during the conversation, but just in case you kind of glossed over that as you were listening, Mandy is a reflector. So she is a unicorn in the human design and other worlds, I guess. So thanks for being here, Mandy.
Thank you.
Andrea Corbett.
Thank you. Great session today. Amazing. So I'm Andrea Corbett. I call myself the healed entrepreneur who heals entrepreneurs to thrive and rise in their personal and professional life. I am a certified business strategist, and what a modality I use is called heart healing. And so you may hear from my accent, I have a London accent, so I'm London's only Black heart healing practitioner. I have a new community that is called Women in Business Breaking Cycles. And in there, that's my space where I can be my utmost managing and have all the things in there and share and not have any shame about what I'm saying. And that's because that's my safe, non-judgmental space. And people can find me at AndreaCorbett.com and on all socials, Instagram and Facebook is Andrea Corbett.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. It's nice to see you live and in person. I usually just get to chat with you online. So it's nice to have you here.
I know, right? Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, and then we have one more guest, but she is currently nursing her baby, which is the joy of being an entrepreneur, is that you can still work while you're doing other things in your life. So I am going to read hers out. Her name is Andrea Slate, and she says that she is an online business manager, or OBM, and she is a systems and scaling expert. You can find her on Instagram at the Andrea Slate. And I know that Andrea always, when she's talking about how her name appears, she says it sounds like Andrea's late when you try to spell it out. So all of those handles will be linked in the show notes for you so that you can look up these fabulous entrepreneurs and let them know what you thought of this episode once it gets out into the ethers to you. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for listening in. And we know that life is going to kick us around. Our goal, at least our goal here, is to stay unjaded as we move through all of it in life and in business.